Hello, everybody. It's me, Santa, and welcome to another exciting episode of Dear Santa, the podcast, where I get to ask people their favorite Christmas memories and stories and everything Christmas related. Well, let me tell you about our guests tonight, Jack and Cynthia Keptner. I have known them since they were little boys and girls, and they are just amazing people. So, Jack Keptner was a Cleveland native before he was abducted to Pittsburgh as a teen. And I'll tell you what, Jack, that got the elves in a tizzy because we had to find your new address. His wife, Cynthia, though, is a Pittsburgh native, and they've been married 54 years. Oh, my gosh, that's so wonderful. They've always declared Christmas to be their favorite holiday while raising 3 children who likewise had a love of Christmas. Inexplicably, all 3 of their children ended up living in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, the Christmas city. So in 2014, after living for 40 years in Pittsburgh, they pulled up their roots, moved to Hellertown, Pennsylvania, and currently enjoy visiting the best main street in the USA, Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Jack and Cynthia, welcome. It's so exciting to have you here tonight.
Well, we're excited too, Santa.
This is like a dream come true. I've been waiting like 76 years to meet you.
Well, I know we've met before, but this is a little more personal than just coming and telling me your Christmas list. And let me
Right.
mention, I love the holiday Christmas outfits. They look fantastic. Cynthia, do I see Frosty the Snowman earrings on your ears there?
Yes, you do.
Oh
I
my,
bet I bet he's a friend of yours.
very
And
dear
I
friend of
just
mine.
oh,
I can't wait to tell him that you were wearing earrings honoring him. And I love the green and red. I love the Santa and the reindeer on your sweater, too. Oh, I'm in the Christmas mood already, and we still have 99 days to go until Christmas. So,
wow.
Oh
oh
my,
my
oh
goodness,
my
it's
God.
so exciting. But I'm thrilled to have you both. I've known you both for years. I've known your children for years. So I want to jump right in. Let's talk about Christmas. So, how about you can do it individually or as a couple, but what are some of your first Christmas memories that you both have?
Okay.
All right. And you're not going to believe this, but I was 11 months old for my first Christmas. And I feel like I have a vague remembrance of it. I think that might be a little crazy, but
No, not at all.
I remember being in the living room and this disjointed conversation with my parents showing me presents that Santa brought. Possibly it could have been my second Christmas because I don't know if 11-month-olds have conscious memories, but that's my memory.
Well, that's wonder. I love that it goes way back to either your first or second Christmas. That shows me how much you love Christmas, Cynthia, and I appreciate that
Right.
so much. So, how about you, Jack? Do you have a first Christmas memory in Cleveland before you moved to Pittsburgh?
Well, should I tell Mr. Mayor?
Yeah.
Okay, well, yes, I do have Christmas story to tell. I was one of I'm one of which turned out to be 5 boys in our family, but my 2 older brothers, Ron and Tom, and myself and my brother Pat, who was only about how old then?
18 months.
18 months old, were in the house Christmas Eve. My mother was not there because she was at the hospital giving birth to my brother Tim.
That's right. I remember that.
Yes, so Santa delivers all the presents, puts them under the tree. They're all clearly marked. You marked every one, so everybody knew what they were going to get. And that morning, Christmas morning, this is like one of those deja vu things. I could see my brother sitting on the floor with all these wrappers, Christmas wrappers and gifts laying all over he ripped every present open. He took all the paper, the wrapping paper, the name tags, everything over. And so I'm looking around and I'm thinking, and I'm seeing what Santa brought, and I'm going, oh, I think I like that one. And then my poor father, he gets up and he sees what my brother did. So then he has to call my mom at the hospital to see what Santa had put, on the
Yep.
presents, so she could maybe figure that out. It finally did get sorted out. I remember seeing a couple things on the floor that I really liked to have gotten, but they went to my brothers. But what are you going to do?
Yeah.
And so I guess the moral of the story was that if you're going to have a child, don't have it on Christmas Eve. And then my dad said to my mom, well, maybe we just won't have any more. How about that?
Okay.
So now my poor brother has his birthday on Christmas Eve, and
Okay.
how many people celebrate somebody's birthday on
Right.
Christmas Eve?
Right.
We
Well,
do, but anyhow, so that story always comes up, and it was just something that I was only 6 at the time, but it was very memorable.
that is such a great story. I love hearing that, and what a great story to recapture every Christmas time and remember. I absolutely love it. And yes, your mother knew which presents were from whom, and which was for Santa. Moms, as I said to a previous guest that we had, moms know those things. So
Yes, yes, we always do.
yep. Moms and Santa have kind of a certain connection that moms
Exactly.
always know, so that's always fantastic. Well, that is absolutely great. And what about your first Christmas as a married couple? Do you have memories of that? You guys were in Pittsburgh at the time, correct?
Well, at the very last moment, we were not going to have a Christmas tree. However, because as newlyweds, we went to one parent's house, the other house, up to Cleveland. And I decided that we should have a tree. So I sent Jack out to buy a tree.
First mistake.
He came home with the most raggedy tree. We only had one box of ornaments and about 2 strings of lights that my dad had brought down about a week before. And you could see through this tree.
Okay, I'm going to interrupt, and I'm sorry. I take offense at that. Look, I was sent out in the dead of night to buy a Christmas tree in the dark. And it was a local church, and the Boy Scouts were selling Christmas trees. So I stop and I go, oh, Boy Scouts, I can make a donation, I can
Sure.
get a tree. And they had all these trees, and again, it was dark. I'm just married, and it's the first time I ever picked out a tree. And I saw one, I go, hey, that looks pretty good to me. And so I bring it home, but then I find out that it wasn't the best tree to put up in our place.
So you
It
had
didn't
you had the
meet-
original Charlie Brown Christmas tree, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right, exactly right. So Jack initiated some rules. One was no shopping for trees in the dark, and the other one was he never goes without me because if the tree's bad, we're going to share the blame.
Good, Jack, good decision making on your end.
Yeah, I think that was pretty smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've made a lot of mistakes in my life, but I think that was a good one.
Well, but you know what? That story, though, you're laughing about it and talking about it still, and that's what makes Christmas special is having those memories. So that is an absolutely fantastic story. I absolutely love it. Let me ask you about, so you're married, you have 3 children. What did Christmas look like with the kids? When on Christmas morning, did you have rules that they had to wait for you to get your coffee and your orange juice before they can open presents? Tell me a little bit about Christmas morning once you had children.
Well, we didn't make them wait for our coffee. They were upstairs. Jack was a Super 8 photographer at that time, and he had to get the camera set up and the music playing before we let them come down the stairs. And we kind of did that one present at a time thing, which really dragged Christmas morning sometimes into Christmas afternoon.
Yes. Well, that's fantastic. What about stockings? Did they get to open the stockings first, or was there rules about that as well? Because I know some families wait until after dinner or lunch to open stockings. Some that's the first thing that the children are allowed to attack. How did that work in the household? I'm always curious to
Um,
know that.
the stockings were first. It, it- I think at a certain point in time, the stockings just weren't as important
Okay.
as getting into the
Yeah.
nitty gritty of the presents there.
Yep.
Yeah, I can see that. I could see that. A lot of kids
Yes,
are just ready to rip the paper and go for the big things. So,
Oh, yeah.
yes,
but I'm
definitely.
glad that the stockings are still they're still relevant and important though. So I hope they continue doing
Yes.
that. Now I know all three of your children. Which would you say? Now I know you have, let's see, two girls and a boy, if I remember
Uh-oh,
correctly,
here we
Right.
go.
right?
This is gonna be a good one.
Well, were there any that were? I remember one specifically was occasionally trying to catch me when I would drop presents off. Do you have any memories of that, or any of the three? Does that sound like any of the three that they were inquisitive and curious and trying to stay up late to catch me, or anything like that ever ring a bell?
Yeah, well, our oldest daughter was always very into the detective work
Mm-hmm.
of Christmas presents, and she got very good at it, and I think she even mentioned that she did see Santa once, but uh, we probably tried to drug her Christmas Eve
Nice.
so that with
With
cookies.
Oh, with
cookies.
cookies.
Yes, so
Well,
that she slept soundly and didn't mess anything up. Um, we're coming to you with, we have a before Christmas story that would like to relate
I
to
would love
you.
to hear it. Oh my goodness, please
Yes.
share away.
Um, we, like so many families, you develop these traditions, and we'd buy our Christmas tree about 10 days before Christmas. We like to keep it up about a week after too. And we bought a tree, and what we would do is we'd make sure everybody was home the night we decorated it. We'd have hot chocolate, music playing, um, cookies out. It was just such a nice night. And then when it was all done, we'd turn out the lights in the living room and leave the tree lights on and all sit there and kind of bask in the enjoyment
I love
of the
that.
tree.
Yeah.
Well, as the week went on, there were a lot of ornaments that ended up on the floor. People in our house were blaming our cat, Bob. Bob was the Christmas cat. He drank the water out of the tree.
Oh, Bob.
He would climb under the tree. I felt that there were too many ornaments falling, even to have it be Bob's fault. So, about 5 days before Christmas, we were eating dinner and we heard thump, and we all went running in the living room, and our beautiful tree was laying on its side.
Oh my
I know.
goodness.
And so we had to redo it, and I talked it up. Remember how much fun it is that we have decorating, brought out the music, cookies, hot chocolate, and we all did it. It wasn't quite as spirited as the first time, as you can imagine.
Yes.
And so we were all tired. We did the turn out the lights, admire the tree again. Then we all headed upstairs. We're near the top of the steps and we hear
No.
thump.
No.
Now, I have to tell you, there were some naughty words that were said then. We all ran down, and there was the tree laying on its side
Oh,
again.
Bob, what did you do again?
I do not blame Bob for this. Jack here walked up to the tree, loosened the holder, shook everything off the tree. Kids are shrieking. Pile of ornaments, lights, tips, all laying in a stack on the floor. He opens the door to the porch aside.
And I grabbed that tree and I just threw it out on the
Jack.
porch. I said, we're getting rid of this tree and we're going to go get another one. So
everybody's
anyhow.
everybody's crying.
Yeah.
We all go to bed. And the next morning, all the kids were going to school. They all went at different times, but they were all sad.
Oh my
It was
goodness.
the last day of school before Christmas break, which is the happy day. And they all looked at that spot. It was so sad. My daughter Becky said, "That's the saddest spot where a Christmas tree should be."
Oh my goodness.
And she left, and we went out to.
Well, we drove back down to where we bought the tree. The local band for the high school band was selling trees when we purchased it. Actually, the tree had sort of let's just call it like Dutch elm disease.
Okay.
It was it had some problems with its extremities.
Okay.
So it was top heavy.
Okay.
And that's why I kept falling over. So I told Cynthia, I said, we're getting rid of this. Well, when the band was selling the trees, they would have limbs and that they would cut off and they put them in a big pile. I grabbed that tree out of our trunk and I threw that tree, brand new tree, right up on top of that pile. And I said, we're done with that tree. And so then we went out and then.
Well, the band was no longer selling trees.
Okay.
And the police did arrive. He neglected to tell that part. They were like, "What are you doing?" And we started telling them the story, and they didn't want to hear it. But they were fine with us tossing the tree because there was always a bonfire that, and the tree was fine. And we ended up back in the church parking lot where Jack had bought
the first tree, our
first
first
tree.
Christmas,
Okay.
back with the Boy Scouts at the local church.
ironically. And the man who was selling trees told us there weren't many left, but we described what happened, and he said he thought the tree had gotten frozen and then thawed, and it was very soft. That's what led to all the
Okay.
ornaments coming off and then the tree falling over. And he did give us a break on the tree. They only had a few left. And as it turned out, that tree was better than the one Jack bought the first
My
time he
goodness.
bought.
I have to say it
Well,
was.
because you were with him, Cynthia, so you
Yeah.
obviously
Yeah,
picked
that's
out the
right.
right one.
Well, I was not allowed to go by myself.
No,
Okay.
not at all. That is
And
a
we went
fantastic.
home, and Jack set up the tree, he put the lights on, and then he had to head off to work to a meeting. And I spent the whole afternoon because, mothers have nothing better to
Of
do
course not.
4 days before Christmas than to redecorate a tree for
Sure.
the third time.
Can you see my violin?
I'm not getting involved in that one right there, Jack. I am supporting
So,
Cynthia fully on this.
All of our kids arrive home at different times. And what was so nice was as they walked in the house, first thing they looked at was that spot that had been so sad that morning.
Aw.
And the tree was up. And from the oldest teenager to the youngest elementary student, they got big smiles on their faces. And it turned into a funny story.
Yeah.
And didn't have any effect on us enjoying our Christmas.
That is such a great story. Oh my goodness. And
Yeah,
that's
that's a good
that's
story.
one that needs to be told every year to your grandchildren.
Just
And
about, yeah.
that's
yeah.
oh my goodness, that is wonderful. That I'll have to talk to your children and get their take on the story and see what they
They're
say.
you're still blaming the cat, but
Well-
I'm not. I don't think it was
No,
the
it
cat.
wasn't the cat. It
Yeah,
was the
we'll
tree.
give Bob a pass on this one and just blame Mother Nature
Yes.
for messing with your tree. But oh, that story was absolutely wonderful. That's what makes this podcast, is stories like that, and you sharing them with everyone, because so many people have wonderful stories like that need to get handed down. I absolutely love it. But
And it makes you just enjoy the spirit of Christmas
Yep.
so much.
absolutely, and it's great. It brings a smile. It makes you laugh, and that's what Christmas is all about. So I love it.
Exactly.
Let me change gears for a minute. Let me get into some other specifics. So let's talk cookies. Now, as you all know, I'm a cookie expert. I love my cookies all year, not just on Christmas. Although Mrs. Claus tries to slow me down during the year, but it doesn't always work. Do you both have a favorite cookie that you have either make or you've left out for Santa for me before, or any favorite cookies that you both have?
Well, we've narrowed our cookies down to about 4 or 5 cookies.
Okay.
And my favorite is called a Danish jam cookie.
Those are
It's
delicious.
a very delicate thumbprint
Mm-hmm.
that you roll in walnuts and then put raspberry filling in. Um, a lot of people who never had it before told me they liked it very much.
Yeah, very much.
I
so.
can tell you, I'm a big fan of your Danish raspberry cookies. Those are delicious.
Well, we'll be sure to leave some of
Please.
those out for you this year.
Please, I look forward to those every year. How about you, Jack? A favorite cookie?
My top cookie, and for probably most of my life, is a peanut butter cookie. And if it's burnt on the bottom, all the better.
Oh,
So that
okay.
way, if someone is making them and they happen to sometimes get just a little bit overcooked, I'm the one who gets them. So I get to eat all the burnt ones, and
Perfect.
so that always works out pretty well. Sometimes deviously, I will distract my wife from the oven and say, "Gee, I don't think those cookies are done yet." And then she'll go and she'll, "Oh my gosh, look at the smoke!" And I go, yes, that's great.
There's a dozen with your name on it
Yeah.
right there, Jack, right?
That's my favorite. Yeah.
That's good. Lovely.
Yeah.
Let's talk Christmas movies. Are you movie buffs? Do you watch a good Christmas movie, and do you have any favorites?
Well, It's a Wonderful Life is one that
Of
we
course.
Watch
probably just about
yeah.
every year. Yeah, that was a great show. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's a fantastic movie, and I Mrs. Claus and I like watching it. I've mentioned this on the podcast before, in the original black and white. I don't think it gets any better
wow.
than that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it was good.
Good.
A few years ago, we watched a movie that you wouldn't really call a Christmas movie, but it was about World War I.
Okay.
And the soldiers who were on opposite sides, the Germans and the French, and on Christmas, they got up out of the foxholes and celebrated together. It was a real touching.
Was it the Magic?
Maginot Line.
Yes,
And
I
they
know that movie.
celebrated
Yep.
Christmas.
And they sang
then
Silent
after-
Night, I think, as well. They
Yeah.
sang
Right.
And
Silent
then the
Night.
next day they went back to fighting again.
Oh,
Yes.
tragic, but what a lovely gesture and
Yeah.
and moment
Yeah.
in that movie.
Yeah.
Have you seen, so, I don't know if your grandkids have made you watch this one, but have you seen Elf with
Yes.
with
Yes,
okay.
yeah.
A little different than some of the classics you're talking about, but still
Yeah,
still
that's
entertaining
it.
and quite entertaining and quite humorous. So Mrs.
Yes,
Claus and I
yeah.
watch that every now and then.
That's true. It's sometimes children's movies that are made with a little adult humor in them are really good.
Yeah. Well, and I'm sure when you were raising your children is when they would show a Christmas movie on TV only once a year. So you had to circle that
Right.
date and to
Yes,
watch
that's right. Yeah, they were
Rudolph, or
highlighted in the newspaper. Yeah.
to
Right.
watch
Yeah.
Rudolph or
Or-
Frosty or any of those. You had to circle the date, and
Yeah.
families blocked it off. I'm sure your kids were in that age group,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, our local newspaper on the Friday after Thanksgiving would print a front page of the third section with all the Christmas shows that were on, and they went through and, like you said, circled and highlighted them, and we watched them faithfully.
That's
It's
wonderful.
almost a shame that you can see anything anytime now.
I agree with you. I think there was something
Yeah.
special
Yeah.
for families back then because it was a
Right.
family event, and
Yeah, it
you
was.
know,
There was a lot of anticipation and,
yeah.
it was fun.
And I know some families try to limit, the viewing, and I think that makes it even more special. So I'm glad
Right.
that your children had the opportunity to kind of do
Yes.
that. So I've only got two more questions for you. So one question is,
Sure.
let's talk music. Do you have a favorite Christmas song or Christmas carol that when you hear it, it just brings joy to your heart?
Well, mine is "Oh Holy Night." And one of my daughters made it a point to learn to play it when she was taking piano lessons, and she's kept up with it, and she will play it for me
That's lovely.
around Christmas.
That's so lovely. What a nice gift from your daughter to be able to play that for you. How about you, Jack? Any favorite Christmas movies?
Oh,
And do not
gosh.
say the dog one where the dogs bark jingle bells. That
Well,
doesn't
now
really
you've
count.
stole my thunder
I'm
now.
sorry, Jack. That one
Um,
doesn't count.
yeah, they also have one with cats,
Oh my goodness.
So, meow, meow, meow,
Okay.
meow, 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 you know. Um, I would say probably from when Liz was just a little baby, and then this is I remember this because we had 33 RPM records that
Mhm.
we played back then. And we had John Denver's Christmas. And Liz, and as she's scooting around the living room floor, went and hit the stereo and scratched the record. So it's part of John Denver's Christmas. It skipped.
Okay.
So we always listen to that. And we go, oh, that was Liz.
Oh.
But it was, I think his Christmas album, whenever we put it on every year, and that's probably the first one that I put
That's
on.
great. That is a highly underrated Christmas album. More people need to listen to that.
Right. Yeah.
I'm a
Yeah.
big fan of that album as well. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
all right, and so my last question: how about a Christmas wish? Do both of you have a Christmas wish, either for yourselves or your family or anyone out there that might be listening to us today?
Well, when I go to church on Christmas Eve, my wish is that everything continues to be as good as it's been for us, that I wish all the happiness for my children and ourselves. And that's my Christmas thought.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Cynthia. Jack, anything to add on to
Yeah, I
that?
can pretty much ditto that.
Okay.
Probably and when you're very reflective when you are in church. I think that's usually the time when thoughts of your family come to mind. And this isn't maybe just a Christmas wish, but this is probably one almost every week when I go to church, is the fact that um, I wish always health and happiness for my children. It doesn't always work out. There are things that happen in our lives that we don't control. But I think of my family. I think of my dear wife. I think of my three children and my and their spouses. Of course, we know how that goes too. So that's what I wish for, and it's just a wish, and you hope it comes true.
Yeah, well, those are wonderful wishes, and I appreciate you both sharing that. And all that I can do as Santa is try to put the good gifts of wonderful family memories in your hearts, and hope that continues to carry all through and bring happiness and smiles to your whole family. But I wish you both a very Merry Christmas. Thank you so much for joining me. I love talking to you both, and I love seeing you, and I look forward to those cookies, Cynthia. So make sure you make enough, and take care of Jack. Burn a couple peanut butter cookies for him if you would as well.
You won't
Okay.
find any burnt ones on
I
your
would
plate.
assume
I
I
can tell you
won't.
that
So,
much.
well,
Oh,
thank you both.
and we've always loved you, Santa.
Well,
We
thank
Yeah.
we
you.
love so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. It brings me joy to hear that, and I appreciate it. Merry Christmas. We'll see you both soon,
Thank you,
okay?
Santa. Merry Christmas to you too.
Bye,
to
guys.
you.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for joining us for another episode of Dear Santa. So, as you all know, typically now is when we go to the mailbag to take some letters, but instead, what I started doing a few episodes ago was highlighting one of the elves at the North Pole. As you know, there's a couple different kind of elves, and I'm really trying to focus now on the very shy elves, the toy building elves that have never been seen by human eyes. So I want to talk tonight about Sprocket. So this is Sprocket. So Sprocket, if you've ever owned a bicycle, there's a really good chance that Sprocket designed it in his workshop. Growing up, he was fascinated by the idea of building bikes and was always working to make it faster and cooler looking and more fun to ride. He used to ride his bike to the workshop, one day took a detour through the woods and accidentally invented the first mountain bike. No matter how young or old you are, the one thing Sprocket asks is that everyone wear a helmet and keep safe. Sprocket's shop, besides making bikes, also makes skateboards and scooters and anything that you can ride with wheels. So if you're riding on a bike or a scooter, wear a helmet and think of Sprocket. Sprocket's favorite food, just in case anyone wants to know, macaroni and cheese. And I can agree with that. What a great meal. So there you go, boys and girls. Sprocket is this week's elf. Anyway, if you've got any questions for Santa, please send an email to historicdearsanta@gmail.com. Again, that's historicdearsanta@gmail.com. Please share the podcast with your friends, like it, subscribe. You can find it on YouTube. You can also find it on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Thank you again, everyone. We'll see you soon. Merry Christmas from the North Pole. Ho, 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 ho.